So, good morning, everyone. Uh, we want to start today by going on with the continuation of our last tutorial, and in this one, I've done some little adjustment to our scene. I increased the time frame. Hold on, let me turn on my screencast key. Okay, so I increased the time frame from about 200 and something we had before to about 1144, which is that's about 47 seconds long. Okay, so now when I play this animation, I think I want to turn here into my graph editor. I like to see it over there. So I'll go select the Miximo rig and go into pose mode. Okay, so when I select on the root master, that's the control master there, that's responsible for the movement of our character. You can see it brings the curve. So basically the curve goes from 0 to 40 meters in 47 seconds. Okay, so this is what 0 to 40 meters in 47 seconds looks like. You see, we have a problem. Our character foot, the foot of the character is sliding, yeah, which means that the animation is way faster than this. So which now brings me to fixing this problem. And how do I fix that? I'm going to press shift and left direction, and firstly I'll reduce the end frame so it's shorter. That way we can just see like a short loop of the whole sequence. Yeah, so you see the character's leg out. Okay, so you can scrub forward and backwards by clicking on your playhead over here, or you can just hold Alt and scroll forward and backwards to do this. Okay, so now where I'm concerned about is when the foot makes contact with the floor. It's supposed to remain at this point, but you see it's moving backwards, even though this foot is supposed to still be bearing the weight as at here, which is the last frame. So that's what we're trying to fix, and to fix that, it's quite simple. He's traveling. If you go 40 meters, let's say 40 meters is constant, the distance it covers. If he takes him a longer time to cover this distance, the animation will be slower. But if it takes him a shorter time, for example, now here's 47 seconds, if we're to bring it down to about, let's say, 10 seconds, you see that he will move faster. Yes, so that's what we're doing. We're going to be adjusting this guy, because in the graph editor we have two axes. We have the x-axis, which is left and right, then we have y-axis, which is up and down. Yeah, so I'm going to move this last keyframe here. So I'm clicking and dragging to select this last keyframe, and I'll just press G. But before that, I'll play the animation again. I'll scrub forward and backwards. So he makes contact here. Let's assume the contact is here. Okay, now this means that his foot is supposed to remain planted here for a period of time. Let me annotate this. So this is the back of the foot to the front of the foot. Yeah, however, when we move forward, we see that at this point the foot is supposed to still be here, but we see that that is not the case. So what we're trying to do is to adjust this guy backward until the foot comes to this line over here, which was the first contact point. So I'll press G and I'll press X also. So G to grab like you are about to move the keyframe, then X to lock it on X-axis so that it doesn't move up while we're doing this. So all we're doing is we're going to be moving this guy backwards until it makes contact. So I'm holding shift down to slow down the rate at which it's moving, so I can precisely get that fixed. Okay, so at this point I'm going to play the animation and see if the foot is still sliding. You see there's still some sliding going on. Okay, actually the foot makes contact here, so we're wrong with this guy. We're supposed to draw it over here like so, which means that we'll keep on adjusting it until this last frame, when the heel is going up, it's supposed to still be at that point. So I'll press G and lock it on X-axis again and move it till the front of the shoe touches the front of the line, like so. Okay, so which was how I initially got to about 200 and something frames, but let's see if we'll fix that issue. So steps, still moving backwards, so we'll just keep adjusting this and move it further backwards like this, and watch the step again. So it's covering more distance now, but you can see that the foot is planted, and the speed of the character is matching up with the speed of the root control master. So it makes contact here. I'll draw this again. There's still a little slide, so I'll press G and X to move it back a bit to match. Okay, so I'll play this again. Makes contact here, foot slide a bit, yeah. So I'll erase this guy and go back a bit here, and it's not that noticeable, but there's still a little change, so I'll just adjust it a bit, yes, like so. Okay, so his steps, so you can see that there's less sliding going on over there, which is manageable. So I'll go forward and watch the next step. Yes, stays planted, a little sliding going on there. So steps, it's like sliding back a bit. I'll move it, zoom in a bit, frame this guy. So yeah, so I'm just scrubbing through to just make sure that the sliding of the foot is not much. That way the beat now matches up to the movement. So if I was to increase this back now, you see that our end frame is now at, we reduce the frame to about 233. Yes, okay, so it should be 234. Yeah, that's where it ends. So you see that the speed, his running speed has not matched the movement of our root master. Okay, so that's step one. Step two, we're not done with that yet. Step two, what we're going to do is we're going to go over and start adding some of these other actions, which I'm going to minimize this area over here and kind of expand the NLA. Now doing this, I have my fast run over here. So what I want to do is I want to change the extrapolation mode. So I want to change this to nothing, which means that once the strip finish playing, you're going to go to the T pose. Okay, and for the repeat value, you can see it was extended. I can now adjust this downwards to match with the end frame of my new timeline. Okay, now that I fixed this, I can push this down over here. Please remember to enable this so that it only shows you the actions for the selected rig. Okay, so I'm going to click on these to reduce the actions so you can see that at my screen. At this point, what we're going to do is I know he jumps over first, so there is a jump over, then there is him sliding this area here. So I'm going to move this guy forward, jump over with both hands. Yeah, that's why I named it, because I'm very good at naming things. Alright, so I'm going to play this action right now. For the jump over with both hands, I'm going to change the interpolation, the extrapolation to nothing, and the blending to combine. So I'll just hold Alt and scroll forward and try and get the point where my character needs to start jumping. So firstly, I'm just going to layer this action before I come back to start fixing them. Okay, so here, let me take a look at the jump action first of all. I'll disable this guy first. I'll bring him backwards, and let me start the jump action here. Okay, so he starts the jump with his right foot, which means that we have to adjust this guy to run fast. But he's going to start somewhere around here. Okay, so which means that because this is where the this run animation, the right foot hits the ground, so we want it to be somewhere close. So I'll move it a bit inwards. No, okay, I'll move it a bit inwards like this and enable it first, and I'll just increase the blending option for it so that it blends with the other action. And for this guy over here, maybe somewhere around here, I can just press K, or better yet, I'll just reduce the repeat value to 2 so that I have just two. It repeats just 2 times, so I can select this one and increase the blend out. Okay, so at this point, what I'm simply going to do is to watch the transition. Okay, so left steps with the left foot, then the right, then voila, he jumps over the rock. Yeah, like I said, I'm not worried about trying to fix too many things right now. So let's go further. He does that jump over, then there's a blend out. He's supposed to continue with the run animation, so somewhere around here after planting his foot. So I'm going to come over here and do a blend out, and I will duplicate this fast run, Shift D, lock on X. It's not locking on X, so I just bring G and move it over here and try and layer these two, blend them in properly. So I'll just do the blend in. Sorry, I'm going to increase blend in. I'll take blend out to 0 first and take blend in like so, and see how it transitions if there are any issues. So he lands, slides and continue. Beautiful. Okay, so now I'm going further into the animation to see what happens here. I know he slides with his left foot. I don't know why I've named this right foot, but I'm going to increase the repeat value for this plate till we get somewhere around here. Yeah, and maybe I reduce this from 11 to, I think 4 might be okay for now. So I just type 4. 4 might be okay for now. Then I want to take this action, this next action over there. So I'll change the fast run, the blending option to combine. I'll select this one, which is the slide, right foot slide, and change this to nothing, the extrapolation, and change the blending to combine. I basically do this for most of the actions, unless maybe you're trying to add another action, layout action on an existing one. Then you can go ahead and use the add option over here. Okay, so now we now have this guy sliding, starting to slide from somewhere around here. So I'll blend this action, I'll blend it out. I'll blend it out, and for the slide I'll blend in, and I'll see if we have any issues over there. So for some reason, oh sorry, the track is not enabled, so I just did that now. Okay, not bad. So he steps, but there is an issue with the stepping. One track, so steps, maybe I shouldn't have blended it too much. So the blend out, I'll adjust it to see whether I will fix it. Take it backwards like so, somewhere around here, and let's see. I'm going to blend that. Yeah, I'll drag this backwards. It just has to do with the leg placement, the leg position in both strip. Yeah, so that's usually what causes that. So that I had to slide the strip to find which of them, or I would have had to disable one, which was the longer route. So yeah, I'm using this. So leg planted, slides. Okay, so let's see this. I'm using Alt and scrolling downwards to continue, and he does a beautiful slide, gets back up, and starts running. Yeah, but over here we can see that we don't have the run action, doesn't extend. So I'm going to duplicate this run action and put it over here, and we're just still going to do the same thing we did earlier, which is blending and blend out. So we're going to blend the slide action out, and we're going to blend the run action in, something like so. I like to match both strip, and yeah, sorry, blend out. Okay, so we scrub back, we see it goes from slide, then steps, no, steps, there's a bit of a problem there, G, X, I'm going to slide backward first to see if he fixes it, steps, that leg doesn't get planted properly, so it means that the blend out for this guy, maybe we'll adjust it some more to match the beginning of that frame. So okay, step, I think I can live with that. Okay, so yeah, so we've successfully added these actions. Yeah, and what we want to do next is we want to adjust some things over here, like at this place where he jumps. Two things I could do, because my scene, to fix this, I could fix it from my animation, I could fix it for the location of this. By the location of this, I mean that I could press, first of all, let me delete any keyframe present in it first. Turn off the auto keying. I could move it backwards to match my shots, because it wasn't like this was a fixed place, it was a scene I just roughly put in. So I can move it backwards, because at this point his hands are supposed to be touching the rock. So let me just see if that will fix it. So let me check this out. This leg is sliding, don't worry, we're going to work on it. So he jumps over, touches the rock, and maybe I could shift this sideways because he has to be jumping over the lower part of the rock here. So comes, jumps, hands on the rock, then lands on the other side. Okay, so I think that's okay for now, but the issue we now have is we have to go back and select the rig and go to a particular action, and that action we're going to is the move character action. I'm going to push it down so that it's there. So is this move character action. So we see that his legs, when he's about to jump, his legs are sliding. They're supposed to, hold on, steps, steps. There's something wrong over here too. There's an adjustment that needs to be made. GX, maybe I take this guy backwards a bit, forward, hold on, scrub, step, yes, because there was something happening with the leg, like it was starting too early. So, but you can see that foot is sliding. Okay, so these are some of the issues that we're going to fix, and I'm going to show you various ways we can fix the foot. Me, what I usually do, I usually go after them one at a time, but for this first, let me just show you this. So he lands, foot is constant here, then moves. This foot is supposed to remain on this spot because his weight comes on the foot here. So I'd like to believe that this is where his foot is supposed to be constant. So what I simply do here is I would select this foot, or I'll select the master controller, sorry. At the point where it makes contact, I'm going to store a keyframe. So I press A first, F to bring everything in frame. Sorry, we have to select the move track first and go into edit mode for it. And to go into edit mode, you simply press tab, which now opens up the keyframes. Okay, so I come back to my graph editor with the bone selected, and I just simply press A and F. It frames everything. So this position, what I want to do, I want to put a keyframe to mark where the root is, the sorry, let me delete some of these markers to mark this position where the control master is at on the Y location. Okay, so I'll just press, I'll do that by pressing K, bring my mouse to the viewport, K, and I will store location. Of course, it's going to bring out every other location I don't want, so I'll delete. And now all I'll do is I'll just watch the foot movement. Yeah, you see it's sliding forward. So what I'll do first of all, I'm trying to create something like a constant curve here, because you know, like on the constant interpolation, the object remains on a particular location or rotation until it meets another frame where there is a change. So I'll just duplicate this one over here and lock it on the x-axis and move it to the current frame. So now you notice that when I scroll backwards, you see that this is the correct place supposed to be. The foot moves backwards like this. Yeah, so what I'll simply do is that in order to fix that movement that's occurring between here and here, you see it moves backwards, I'd come over here and I will mark the location of the foot somewhere like this. Yeah, then I'll go back to the next frame where it moved, and I'll just press G and Y. I'm moving it on Y because even though the position is the same, the foot slides, so I want to adjust it forward by moving it on x-axis, on y-axis, sorry, till it gets back to that same position. So now we now have something like this. It's not exactly linear again, we've tweaked it a bit. Yes, so it's just adjusting for the speed of the character. So now when I slide back and forward, you see that the foot remains planted. You see it shifts again. It's supposed to be in that same spot even up to this point. Sorry, even up to this point, but I'll press Shift D. Same thing, I'll just move it and carry it to the current frame and slide it up until the foot gets to that same position here. So now when I scroll back, you see that the foot is no longer moving from that position. Yeah, it's now firmly planted. So as he resumes the run, it now gets back into the whole linear movement, into that, so it doesn't affect him getting to that same spot at the same time. It just fixes those foot sliding issues. So now we now have something that's a lot more cleaner. So you see the foot is still maintaining this. At this point I can see that there's an issue, so I want to go first of all to check the blending and blend out for this. Okay, I'll move this on x-axis first, backwards, to see if that will help in fixing, and yes it did. You can see that the leg gets well planted. But this blend out, maybe we reduce the blend out for this. I'll reduce the blend out so that it matches the beginning of the right foot slide animation. And so you see it's not somewhere around there, so let's check it out again. So at this point you can see the foot gets well planted. There's a little slide occurring over here too. We need to fix that. Okay, you can see it, the position of the foot slides. The front of the toes are supposed to be here right now. So what I'll do is I'll go back to this frame. I'll select the move character strip again. Look at it, move character, the one responsible for moving our control master, and I'll press tab. After pressing tab, I'll find my current keyframe here, and I'll press I to store location. Obviously now I'm going to delete everyone apart from apart from Z, sorry. So I've stored this location like we did before. So I'll go further one frame. I think I'll take it all the way to 2. Shift D, and to duplicate it, then move it, lock it on x-axis and take it to my current frame. Or you could just right click and say snap to current frame, and it's going to snap to the current frame. So we can see the current frame, the leg is way backwards, so we just press G, Y, and move it upward until the toes match with the end of the line to our right, like so. So let's slide back, let's see if there's any. You see the feet now gets well planted before he goes for the slide, and let's see what happens after he goes for the slide. He does it successfully, and yep, he's gone. Nope, you can see there's this glitch over here, so you can see I'm always taking note of the transition between each frame to ensure that the blend is neatly done. So you can see over here that the blend is not neatly done here. You can see that foot is It's almost like he's limping, like he matched something that hurt his leg. We are supposed to plant that foot properly. So what we're going to do to fix that is GX. I'll move the strip first of all to see if it brings the leg back to that position. Yes, which means that it was just the positioning of this slip that was the issue. So I'll slide forward again. Still not well planted though. Still not well planted. I'll adjust this. You see his toes are still up, so he has not even made the full contact with the floor. So I'll press N and I will play with the, maybe I move this guy forward, further backwards like this, reduce the blend out to match the beginning of this one, then reduce the blend in to match the beginning of this. So I'll play that and see how that works. Beautiful. So it's planted. Could still use some work. GX. Let me move it backwards a bit more. Yeah, because it's supposed to still be planted here, so I'll reduce the blend out. As I just keep adjusting until I fixed whatever issue is being caused there. So G. Okay, maybe I reduce the blend in for this one. Yes, that should fix it. So let's see. Scrub, plants his leg. His leg slides over here during this transition. Okay, so we'll try and fix that, and we're fixing that, you know, already from this guy. So we're going to steps. This is contact. So we're going to the move again tab, and we're going to find that keyframe and press K, store location, delete X, delete Y because we don't need them. Then we'll go to this one, yeah, and we know that okay, this is the next keyframe 183. So I'll just come back again, and we are going to use our annotate tool to select the end of the foot to the beginning of the foot, so that we know where we're bringing this guy back to. Sorry, what's happening? How can I mark this without? Okay, so we know that I'll use my 3D cursor. This is trying to be difficult. So I'll duplicate the Shift D X, move it one frame forward, and go one frame forward. Then press G Y till the front of the foot comes back to this original position, like so. Good. So let's slide it. See, it's now well planted, which means we successfully fixed that transition and we have a smooth run. So yeah, with this we've come to the end of this part of the tutorial.